Yes. So in any case, people, few more to go again. And what we're going to roll into is something that has been very popular. I don't know if you've seen it. I know I've seen it. I know Oliver has seen it. But there's a big story of rebirth that we've seen recently in this reggae and dancehall space. Seeing, what am I talking about? The Yvonne Sterling story that
Mm.
came to light through what I believe was like really good journalism. So kudos to Winfred and Onstage for bringing this to light. Kudos to Richie Stevens and Little Lenny for bringing this to light. Some of them artists that we haven't even really seen in years. But Yvonne Sterling, if you didn't know, people, is a beautiful soul, a lady where she did do some songs back in the day that got notoriety and became hits overseas, notably in Spanish speaking countries, in a place like Brazil. Seeing, um, I don't know. I said, if you guys know the story, but somewhere on along the lines, you don't know, life takes its toll, and sometimes some people, even though they were great at one point, they end up kind of somewhat fall by the wayside, and either them,
Life was in and fear to them.
yes, you know,
Or people too.
yeah, definitely life, people, everything, you know. So, and this kind of highlights why sometimes how you live your life. Not saying she was living her life, but anything can happen, people. You can be the most positive person, and um, you know, a whole heap of bad happen to you. You can be the negative person, as we've seen a lot, right? And
Mm.
it seems like nothing bad can happen for you. Everything good just happen for you. Seeing? So we are talking about Yvonne Sterling's story, seeing, and more get a feeling from Oliver now that I kind of introduced it a certain kind of way. If you haven't seen it, people, go out there and do a search YouTube, search wherever for Yvonne Sterling, and you might come up with the fact that on stage did a little piece on her, which was a beautiful piece. So Oliver, how you feel about this piece?
Good journalism. Big up Winford. Um, so from what I saw, apparently the Gleaner did a little article on her, or a video piece presentation and digital, and you can watch the video. And she was explaining her dire situation,
Okay.
where she was living, the conditions, water coming into the house where she was living,
There was a flood.
destroying her furniture, right?
Yeah,
The bed.
hold on. Yeah. So she lived in an area where no one forgetting flooding at the time, over the years. New Haven, Jamaica, which is like, would I say opposite Duane Park. You see me I say? Like Brook Valley or wherever you want to call over there. So, you see me? Over them side there. And over there, so no one forget flooded people. So I didn't read. Continue, Oliver.
Yeah, she get flooded, and it was something that she had been dealing with over and over, but it got so bad that the water might have been like waist high, it seemed. And destroy her furniture, bed, all of some of her equipment inside that tiny space she was living in. And I guess she had some during that piece. She showed some flyers that she had from back in the days with other big artists. Peter Metro, I remember maybe I don't want to call any name that was not on the list, but a few other artists, right? Half Pint,
Yeah.
right? So she was performing before, beautiful voice actually. And as would I say, hard life reach her. And this is where it end up. Now, Little Lenny first saw this piece
Yeah.
and was like, wow, this is one of us. Like, this is another entertainer. And
Yeah.
I think that's what spoke to him.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know who Little Lenny is, Little Lenny was pretty much like a child star, right? Or a
Yeah.
teenage star. I remember as I not talk my age, but when Little Lenny did bust, Little Lenny, the girl them, yo, the man that have the girl them, I go crazy. The young girl them.
Yeah.
I think he might have been one of the first young artists for bus at Jamaica, right? Almost like a teen sensation, right?
For me,
like we're in America.
At least for me, still are you, still maybe, you know? Yeah, we don't maybe others before us, but before our time, but at least for me, one of the
it was like people felt like he was a big artist at the
I remember at the time when them on the bus, my mother and father them I really want to listen to them music.
because him used to him have a tune where say she have big ugly.
Yeah,
and
then
with it pram.
Yeah, when it did switch, when him end up switching it around from gun in a baggy to she have the healthy body. That's when it was almost like okay, yeah, the song all right now, you can listen to it.
Radio.
Yeah.
But it was a master record. And I think he had another one or two more, right?
Yes.
And there was a lot story around it.
We can't tell you another one, but another one him do name Boom Flick. You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, and them did say, yo, him did the original, not original, but them was like, the little youth are too slack. The content, for them time, the content did outrageous, especially come from a teenager.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of story around it because he got expelled, right?
Yes.
And that was on big in the news. And to people, young people growing up, they looked up to him like, wow, this is one of us rebelling, doing what he wants to do.
Yes.
And they expelled him from school. And a lot of, I remember, and I was a good student, but I remember feeling like yo, I rate the youth still. You see what I say? Because I must stand up with the system. Because I remember even being a young individual feeling like a man supposed to have a right, a freedom of speech to say what he wants to say, right?
Definitely.
But because he was a student and felt like, okay, we can't have this. Anyway, fast forward, Little Lenny hasn't been doing music, but him reach out and go find the lady. And then him start put some money together where him personally have explain to some other people who are going, and Reggaecy even jump in on the thing too and say, yo, he's heard of her and he's been looking for her because he was at a show in Brazil and the promoter was a big fan of hers for that record. She have a big record named If You Love Me, Let Me Know.
Yeah.
And I went and played the record and listened to it several times. Classic record. Just from you hear it. You would even have to know this story. You'd be like, wow, who's this lady? Who's this voice?
Definitely.
I listened a bunch of the records. She had records with Dennis Brown. She had a couple records. She had one called For Your Eyes or something like that. Bad record. So, yeah, I mean, my happy she know she have what the new record called? Thank You, Lord.
Yeah.
For what you've done for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a remake of, maybe even a remake, because I'm not sure if Bob Marley was the original person that did it. But
Bob Marley.
Yeah, it's a remake of a song that Bob Marley did, Thank You, Lord. And that actually, too, was a rare record because I remember many of my friends were saying, yo, man, you have the record in your box. You know, long me I look for the record, yeah. I see a Bob Marley record. I'm talking about the physical vinyl record. Was difficult to come by. Right. But of course, now we're at the age of MP3, everybody have that. But yeah, that is a big record, a huge record, Oliver. And thanks for segueing into that because the fact that they chose that specific song to show even our rebirth or to reintroduce her to the world, to people. I felt like, yo, it was the perfect choice in a song, right? Because it's almost like she's saying, or, you know, them helping her say that, yo, guess what? I've been through some rough things, some tough things. You know what? Me give thanks and I thank the Father up above because I understand, say, if it wasn't for his grace and a little bit of blessings, no matter how tough it has been, I would not still be here today. And if you see the conditions that was explained and that she was living in, you would understand why I'm saying that. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like the type of story where, you know, that many can learn from. And it goes to show that good music, again, seeing good music can live for a very long time. If not forever. You see me?
Forever.
Right.
You know, I'm glad you said that because I actually was forgetting. I forgot something I really wanted to say. And this is why artists should think about the material they're putting out.
Exactly.
Because this is usually your legacy and it's usually not the records. You see how you say that Bob Marley record was hard to find?
Yeah.
When you become a known name after a while, people connect with you so much, they don't want to only hear the record that everybody knows. No, them start searching for those B records that you did.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes an artist will blow up and it's the B records that people recognize them for. This is outside of our music, but I saw an interview with Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace. And he was talking about that he actually looked at numbers in order to figure out what records to do. And he realized it was the records that he probably didn't pay too much attention to, or that he thought was just a B record, or I'm just doing a record. Those were the ones people were gravitating to.
Right.
So artists, you have to try to make timeless music because look at this equity or this intellectual property that Yvonne Sterling owns, her voice, these songs. I know COVID is around, but no, I hope after COVID. But this has really given her life again.
Yes. It's a rebirth.
Right?
I
4 years later.
And perfect in a sense to say that people, when they make good quality music, no matter how long as you're alive, sometimes it can revive your career. It might even end up, you're in a tough time, and people remember back, even though you've probably been retired and or whatever the case may be, them old song there, but because it was a classic, it bring you back to the forefront. It lift you up. It might help your family as well. You see me? So that is, and we kind of mix this, but this is part of the other reason why sometimes I was looking at, say for instance, the ladies issue that we discussed earlier as unfinished business, because I am looking at it as, how can you throw away that part of your life, right? When it is who introduced you to us, when when that part of your life is the reason why we know you. That part of your life actually, revolutionized how some women think, gave some women their independence to a certain extent. Is it? Because remember, back in the day, most of the time, if you look on it, most women did supposed to cloak up and meek and mild and don't say or do certain things. And to a certain extent, many women that came up under them kind of regime there never found their voice. You see me?
True.
But Lady Saw gave a generation of women their voice. You know what I mean? So me appreciate Lady Saw for that. So what I'm saying is, Minister Marian Hall, you know what I mean? Don't be regretful of your past, because if it wasn't for your past, you wouldn't be who you are today. Again, this, I'm saying that in relation to the Yvonne Sterling story. If it wasn't for her past, it would be the same. She wouldn't face the same fate that she has facing today. The rebirth in her career, the revival to a certain extent. And I hope more come from it other than just this one song, because she still can sing, like she said, and she has a really beautiful voice.
I would like to see her on the Welcome to Jamrock cruise.
Definitely.
I think that would be a good look for her. Maybe even Rebel Salute.
That show that would have fit her.
No Rebel Salute this year again. Well, there was last year, none this year probably.
Yeah.
Or maybe virtually, because it's supposed to be this month, right? In 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. That's a good show. Yeah, hopefully she'll get to do some more recording.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
looking forward to hear it. So good story. Would I love to see some more stories like that. And yeah, hopefully we'll get the chance to ourselves to bring stories like this to the forefront.
To light,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
All
Really good
right.
piece of journalism. And yes, enough respect as far as that goes. Enough to go around.